All right, so first thing that we should do when we're trying to solve this, when we're trying to find all these angles, instead of trying to find them all each individually, solve the entire picture at once. Because then everything will just kind of work itself out. Now, first thing I would look for are vertical angles. And what's the vertical angle for the angle that's 120 degrees? All right, angle 7. And I just wrote that there because that's our starting point, because that's the only angle that we know. Look for vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? Yeah, they're equal to each other. They're congruent. So we know they're congruent. So if that's 120 degrees, what's this guy? 120 degrees. So now, just pick one of like either angle 5 or angle 6 and say, all right, well, if I took angle 5 plus angle 7, what would that equal if I added them up? 180. So do a linear pair. And that would be measure of angle 5 plus measure of angle 7 is equal to 120 degrees. I know measure of angle 7, or that's 180, not 120. I was thinking about that angle. But I know that angle, this guy, is 120 degrees. That's 180 degrees. And angle 5 is what we're looking for. So what do I do next? Subtract 120 degrees from both sides. So how much is measure of angle 5? 60 degrees. So this guy's 60 degrees. And after this, go back to vertical angles. Which angle is vertical to angle 5? Angle 6. So that's 60 degrees. Now, I've solved this intersection. What's this intersection going to look like? The exact same thing as this intersection. And that's the great thing about parallel lines cut by transversals. If you know one intersection, you know them all. So I just take this and say it's going to be 120 degrees, 60 degrees. That's 60 degrees. And that's 120 degrees. So if I were to draw any other parallel lines, they'd be the exact same value. So the answer for measure of angle 1 is 120 degrees. Okay, that's a good question. How do you know if they're supplementary or congruent? Like these two angles, the vertical angles are always going to be congruent to each other. If they're diagonally from each other like this, they're going to be equal. If they're right next door to each other, if they're adjacent, they're going to be supplementary. And that's going to happen everywhere. These two angles right here are the same. So basically, if you forget about alternate interior or corresponding or any of those fancy terms, you can solve the entire picture, get all the angle values, and then you can figure it out from there.